Hello everybody, welcome to That's Football. I'm about to let you into a secret that's going to blow your mind about football and how we rate players. We had the Premier League last night. We had some fantastic results. We discussed that. I want to talk about something that has to stop. Is football becoming a bit like wrestling? A little bit pantomime, a little bit over the top, a little bit about reputation and not quality. I look at Mo Salah last night scoring goals for Liverpool. He is now the top goal scorer in the Premier League. How many seasons does he keep doing this? And yet on the world stage, he is massively underrated. There are players out there that have brands around them who get hyped up. The cameras never move away from them, but actually quality-wise, it's all a big fake. Look at Mo Salah, look at Kylian Mbappé, look at Anthony Gordon, look at someone like Marcus Rashford. Gordon's better than Rashford, Salah's better than Mbappé, but the cameras are on the wrong people. They're on those two players 24/7. You turn the TV on, last night United's game, it's on Rashford all the time. You go to the Newcastle game, you don't really see much of Anthony Gordon. You don't see much of Anthony Gordon at all because he's focused on his game, he's focused on being a footballer, and he's a better footballer than most of these players that have the brandification and the PR going on. But how powerful is that PR? Kylian Mbappé never not being mentioned as one of the best players in the world. Mo Salah never being mentioned as one of the best players in the world. What is that all about? And it needs to stop. Who feeds it? Why does it happen? You can literally be a footballer these days, score a goal, get a team around you, get an agency around you, wear the right clothes, turn up to the right events, do the right magazine, and you will be a superstar. When I was growing up, you had people like the original Ronaldo, David Beckham, Zidane, Edgar Davids, Roberto Carlos. They were doing the adverts. Ronaldinho, they were doing the Nike adverts. They had the PR, but fundamentally, they were the best players in the world. 20 years later, it's flipped around. The best players in the world are focusing on being the best players in the world. And you've got these hyped up players with people, kids and adults, to be fair, names on the back of the shirt. Oh, I love this player. I'm going to buy him on FIFA. And actually, fundamentally, they're more of a brand than they are a footballer when you compare them to better players. Kylian Mbappé, I have to put my hand up, would be saying on this channel on a watch along, who are the top 5 players in the world? For me, Kylian Mbappe's up there. And then I had this epiphany, which is very good for Christmas time. Had this epiphany where I went, what am I basing this on? I'm basing this on highlights I see now and again for PSG and when he plays for France in the World Cup. That's a ridiculously small sample size to say he's one of the best players in the world. There's no doubt that he's got a talent, but I don't actually see it week in, week out. And it is very much a small pool, like I say. Take it to Liverpool. Salah, I see most weeks. I'll watch a lot of 90-minute games with Liverpool because they'll be on the telly a lot. And he'll turn up in every one of those games in the most demanding, intense league in the world where it's ridiculously hard to do it for one season, let alone season after season after season. So for me, Salah is a better player than Mbappé because he delivers consistently week in, week out. So why is it that Mbappé is considered a definite cert for a Ballon d'Or recommendation most years? And why is it Salah isn't? Well, it's simple, isn't it? One plays for France, one plays for Egypt. One is massively got a team around him that's about, let's make as much money as we can, let's brandify this player. And the other one is about, look, I want to play football. And it is remarkable what the modern game has come. And I think people need to wake up to it. I've sort of fell into the trap a little bit, but it is happening. Bring it back to the Premier League. Bring it to the Premier League. At Manchester United, this season especially, I've noticed it massively. Every game that Marcus Rashford starts, the cameras won't leave him alone. It's always on Rashford. And I found it this season probably a little bit more irritating than I ever have because I'm like, he isn't even our best player at this football club. And every time we're on the telly, the cameras are there. Every time. It's always Rashford this, Rashford that. He actually hasn't been that good for quite a long period of time. He's not our best player. And yet, Anthony Gordon, who has gone from Everton to Newcastle, established himself in the England squad, fantastically consistent player in a team that's not one of the best teams in the league, doing it week in, week out. Who's the better player over the last 12 months? It's Anthony Gordon. Who's the one you hear about every bloody day? It's not Anthony Gordon, it's Marcus Rashford. And this is what I'm talking about. It's the brandification and manipulation of you don't even need to be as good at football anymore to be the biggest brand in football. And that's not right. And that's why you've got all these niche conversations now, because there's people who consume football and go, you know what, I actually think this player... You're almost edgy if you go, hey, I think Salah's a better player than Mbappé. Ooh, you know, that's a controversial take. That's a hot take, but I sort of agree. Guess what? I've got another one. Anthony Gordon is better than Marcus Rashford. You know what? You're right. You never hear about him, but you're right. And this is wrong. We're losing what football is. We're losing the ability to say these players are better than these players, but we think these players are better because we hear about them and they've had the foresight to put people around them to promote them. It's like being an independent coffee shop and serving the best coffee and having the best customer service and the best environment and everybody knows you're amazing. And then next door, there's a massive chain of coffee. You know, think of a couple, right? But because they've got a massive chain and they've got the money and they've got the brand, everybody knows about them. Oh yeah, you can't beat that. I love it at Christmas when they do the coffee with the gingerbread liqueur and the sprinkles on the top. But they're doing better coffee day in, day out. But they don't have the hype and the brandification and the marketing budgets that they have. And football's become that. How many players actually 2 years ago, got to get them on FIFA, they're going to be amazing. Where are they now? It needs to be said. It needs to be said, and that's what That's Football's about. We've spoken about VAR. We've spoken about the 3 p.m. blackout. We speak about things, but I'm seeing this more and more. I'm seeing it much. I mean, look, the Mbappé one it's probably Mbappé that's caused it, because I've sort of like seen him at Real Madrid, and he might come good at Real Madrid. You put Mo Salah at Real Madrid, he'd come good. You know, he wouldn't come good. He'd score goals. So if Mbappé suddenly starts scoring a hat-trick for the next 10 weeks, and people come back to this video and go, ha ha, you were wrong. He's playing for the best team in the world. He should be scoring goals. But what would Kylian Mbappé do in the Premier League week in, week out? Well, we don't know. But I know what Mo Salah does. I know what Marcus Rashford does. And I know what Anthony Gordon does. We are victims of manipulation by brandified players who put themselves out there all the time. PR, and it masks and inflates their actual ability. And players that don't do that go under the radar and underrated. And get in the comments. I want to see more examples. I've given you 2. Gordon, Rashford, Mbappé, Salah. I know there's plenty more. Give me more. Players that are overhyped because they've got massive PR against them, against players that don't do it and are underrated. There are absolutely loads of them. James Ward-Prowse would have been one comparable to, there would have been a midfielder that played for England that got called up for England that wasn't as good but had a bit more hype around him. And hype can sometimes be that, you know, you've come through at Chelsea instead of coming through at Southampton. But we need to be better. We need to be better as football fans, in my opinion. And I desperately wanted to do this video because I actually think it's a great point. I think it's a great point. And I'd be interested to see what your comments are on it. We, as football fans, are being manipulated. 20 years ago, Beckham was brandified, Ronaldinho was brandified, Zidane was brandified, Predator boots, etc. But they were elite players doing the marketing game. 20 years later, have we not created a bit of a monster where average, well, not even average players, good players can get brandification around them and make themselves the Beckham of the Premier League when actually they're the Albrighton and the Beckham is just focusing on it and not doing it. The better players aren't necessarily the marketable players. Get your comments in. Thanks for watching. I'll speak to you on the next one.